Welcome back to the Dinarr Daily, your trusted source for real fact-based updates on the global currency scene. Today's headline is stirring up major attention across forums and investment groups alike. Dong 394 and Dinar 520 claims, what experts say about currency RV. If you've seen those numbers floating around online, you're not alone. People everywhere are buzzing about the possibility of these currencies skyrocketing in value. But before getting swept away by the hype, we need to break down the facts, the data, and what real experts are actually saying about these claims. Right now, thousands of investors are asking the same question. Could we really be on the edge of a major currency revaluation that changes lives overnight? It's an exciting idea, but also one that demands a closer look. Behind every bold prediction and viral headline lies a much deeper story, one filled with economic complexities, government policies, and financial realities that most online conversations tend to skip over. So today, we're cutting through the noise. We're diving into what these numbers actually mean, why the 520 and 394 claims don't align with real-world data, and how you can protect yourself from misinformation. Because when it comes to your money, understanding the truth isn't just smart, it's essential. Let's begin with those attention-grabbing figures. A 5 out of 20 rate for the Iraqi Dinar and 394 for the Vietnamese Dong. These numbers sound incredible, maybe even too good to be true. And that's exactly why they've been repeated for years across online communities. However, none of these figures come from official government or central bank sources. They're not part of any verified monetary policy or real-world exchange data. The actual exchange rate tells a very different story. As of now, the Iraqi dinar trades around 1,310 dinars per US dollar, and the Vietnamese dong sits near 24,000 dong per US dollar. These values reflect actual economic conditions, things like inflation, trade balances, and central bank policies. The 520 and 394 figures, by contrast, are purely speculative, often shared by small groups of hopeful investors or social media accounts chasing viral attention. Understanding the gap between speculation and reality is crucial. Official exchange rates are grounded in measurable economic indicators, while speculative predictions are built on emotion, rumor, and wishful thinking. Investors who can tell the difference are far better equipped to avoid the costly mistakes that come from chasing unrealistic promises. Now, let's shift focus to a term you've probably heard before: mattress dinars. This phrase refers to the billions of physical Iraqi dinar notes still stored in people's homes rather than in banks. Decades of war, political instability, and economic uncertainty have eroded public trust in Iraq's banking system, leading citizens to hold on to their cash rather than deposit it. Experts estimate that only about 10% of these physical notes have made their way back into Iraq's banking system. That means an astonishing 90% of the money supply remains outside official oversight. This makes it nearly impossible for the Central Bank of Iraq to track or control the country's total money supply, a critical step required before any serious revaluation can take place. Why does this matter? Because without knowing exactly how much currency is in circulation, it's impossible to plan a stable revaluation. A sudden move to increase the dinar's value without accounting for all those uncollected notes could wreak havoc, triggering hyperinflation, bank failures, or a total collapse in currency confidence. This is why experts repeatedly stress that a rapid jump to 520 per dinar isn't just unlikely, it's economically dangerous. There's another major factor: the external overhang of dinars held outside Iraq. Over the years, millions of investors around the world have bought dinars through dealers or online platforms, hoping to cash in on a potential revaluation. But here's the catch. If Iraq suddenly assigned a higher value to all those foreign-held notes, it would instantly flood the market with newly valuable currency. That could destabilize Iraq's economy overnight, leading to chaos rather than prosperity. To understand why these speculative jumps rarely happen, it helps to look at history. Countries like China, Turkey, and Brazil have all adjusted their currencies, but every one of those changes happened gradually, over years, not weeks. Even China's carefully managed appreciation between 2005 and 2015 was a slow, deliberate process. No modern nation has successfully pulled off a massive overnight revaluation without causing severe economic disruption, and Iraq's challenges are even greater. The country is still rebuilding, heavily reliant on oil, and navigating political transitions. Revaluing a currency under those conditions would be like trying to remodel a house during an earthquake, possible in theory, but disastrous in practice. Now, let's turn to the Vietnamese Dong. Similar to the dinar, the Dong's rumored 394 rate has circulated for years, mostly on online forums. Yet, the Dong's current rate of around 24,000 per US dollar reflects Vietnam's actual economic performance. While Vietnam has seen impressive growth in manufacturing and exports, its currency remains tightly managed by the central bank to maintain stability and competitiveness. A jump to nearly $4 per dong would imply an economic leap that simply hasn't occurred. Let's talk math for a moment. Iraq printed trillions of dinars over the years. With only about 10% accounted for in banks, roughly 90% of physical notes remain uncollected. If Iraq suddenly tried to revalue all of that money, it would instantly multiply the nation's total monetary value far beyond its GDP, something no healthy economy could sustain. That's why experts say gradual adjustments, not sudden leaps, are the only realistic path forward. The same logic applies to Vietnam. Its government controls the currency closely to support exports, maintain inflation targets, and protect trade balance. A dramatic appreciation would hurt those exports and risk destabilizing the broader economy, the exact opposite of what the government wants. Many hopeful investors have purchased dinars or dong as speculative assets, waiting for that big RV moment. But here's the truth. Currencies don't behave like stocks. They're not driven by market hype or public demand. They're controlled by governments and central banks that make moves based on national interest, not investor expectations. That doesn't mean these currencies will never rise, only that any real increase would be gradual, methodical, and publicly announced long before it happens. For example, Iraq could redenominate its currency in the future, removing zeros from banknotes to simplify transactions. But that wouldn't instantly make anyone rich. A 1,000 dinar note could simply become a 1 dinar note with the same purchasing power. It's human nature to be drawn to stories of quick fortune. The idea of turning a few $100s into millions overnight is powerful, but history shows it rarely works that way. Many of the same speculative claims circulating today were being shared a decade ago, and yet the official rates remain almost unchanged. So why do these stories persist? Because they inspire hope, and hope spreads fast. But as investors, it's crucial to separate emotional excitement from financial reality. Currency revaluation is not a magic switch. It's a complex process grounded in economics, regulation, and government strategy. Let's be real. If a major revaluation were truly imminent, global markets, international banks, and major financial news outlets would be buzzing with confirmations. Yet none of that is happening. Instead, what we see are unverified claims circulating through forums and private chat groups, often recycled from older rumors. The wisest approach for any investor is to stay grounded in facts. Follow official announcements from the Central Bank of Iraq and the State Bank of Vietnam. Watch legitimate economic indicators like oil prices, GDP growth, and inflation rates. Those are the factors that truly shape currency value, not online speculation. If you hold dinars or dong, think of it as a long-term, high-risk speculation, not a guaranteed ticket to wealth. Diversify your investments, stay patient, and make sure you're not putting money into something you can't afford to lose. To wrap it up, the claims of 520 for the Iraqi Dinar and 394 for the Vietnamese Dong simply don't hold up against real economic evidence. With only 10% of mattress dinars recovered, trillions still in circulation, and massive foreign holdings, any sudden revaluation would be unrealistic and unsustainable. Gradual economic progress, not overnight miracles, is the true path forward. Stay informed, stay skeptical, and always base your decisions on facts, not fantasy. Thanks for watching the Dinarr Daily. If you found this breakdown helpful, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with others who want real updates, not rumors. Stay smart, stay alert, and as always, keep your eyes on the facts, not the hype.